We're here to get our Alde system fixed.
Little miscommunication.
But water cannot flow because...
Michelle and I are just scratching our heads on this. And the glycol went all over our floor. The wire comes through it right here. Nothing was attached to the floor. Found out that the previous owners, we're just going to go there because we were recommended to go there. We don't want to be hundreds of miles away. I know you like that one. It's Fix-It Day. This is a little continuation from last week when we were coming from Branson, coming up to Elkhart here at Truma / Alde. We're here to get our Alde system fixed, taking everything off the walls, remove the bench here. That way they have easy access and just helps them go a little quicker, nothing in the road. Our Alde system is our extra heating system basically, and it also heats our hot water. We've been without hot water for how long, Michelle?
9 weeks.
Oh yeah, and she's counting.
9 weeks.
Yeah, and that's no fun. We had the same thing happen to us when we had our motorhome Vinny, and it had a similar system, but we were without our hot water with that system for about the same amount of time. It was a good 2 months. So that's no fun. We're anxious to get that fixed. Our heating system, we do have our other heating system, which is on our AC units. And of course, those are your heat pumps, and your heat pumps really don't work so well once your outside temperature gets below 40 degrees. When it starts getting colder than that, then your coils on your AC units will start to freeze up. But we do, when we're hooked up, we do have a space heater as well. We even use that when we had Vinny. That way, you're getting your electricity for free. It's included anyway. Why run your own equipment when you can just have a cheap space heater? And if it works good, we just use that, especially for a smaller space like this. But anyway, they're just getting opened up here. So somebody is going to be coming over to get us, and we're going to get this inside and hopefully get this fixed so we can get our hot water and our heat back. We've got it pulled inside here. They had us use our truck and pulled inside. A little bit of issues going on here in the beginning. Little miscommunication, I think, from the months of emails and conversations, phone calls. See how this turns out. I just locked myself out. We got the bench off so far, and they're got a bucket underneath draining some of the fluid, and they're going to flush it. And what we're looking for is that flocking or flaking. Basically what it is flakes that comes off internally. And that right there will tell you that the system is breaking down inside. Here is your Alde system. One of the issues with this is the way it was designed, and it retains a lot of heat. The brains to this is right here, so it gets a lot of heat, and there's no way for it to escape. The way Airstream designed this bench, there's no place for the system to breathe. There really needs to be a area cut out and made so that system breathes and it doesn't retain all that heat.
So it means, but water cannot flow because the pump is not powerful enough. And the air circulate slower, and this means the air stays there.
Stay there, right, correct.
But cannot transfer the warm water really.
So back in this area over here is where they actually build the Alde system. So the good news is there was no flocking found in the fluid, and some of the rubber boots that goes on the lines, they're very pliable, so that's also good news.
Yeah, and the corner is a bleeder. So there was totally with air, so we had maybe almost a quarter on glycol what we missed after. So
they flushed the system out. There was absolutely zero flaking going on. Flocking is actually what it's called. And they also said if there were ever any flocking in that system, you can't get it all out, you basically have to gut everything and replace all the lines and everything. You said you just can't get it out. The only way possible is to get inside the system and the lines and scrub it. So it would have been showing up as they were doing the flush. One good thing, why we're really glad we came here, one of the guys here is an engineer. He's been with Alde for 20 years, and he actually lived in Germany, and now he's here in Elkhart, and he's extremely knowledgeable. Hopefully, we'll have our system back soon.
And you said the propane tank is on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the unit is on.
Is it on gas right now?
Yeah.
Another good sign that there's no flaking going on is the rubber boots. So you have all your lines going through that the glycol fluid runs through. On those rubber boots, when there is flaking over time, those will get kind of hard on you. And but these were very pliable, which is a good sign. Although it depends on how long the system's been flaking too. Issues don't just happen instantly after flaking. It takes time. But
We're still crossing our fingers.
hold on while I get this. Okay, I got that.
Spam.
Yes. George, very nice guy as well, especially when he went and got his coffee.
It made me very happy.
It didn't go so great last night. The hot water didn't last very long at all. We couldn't even take quick showers, like within 3 to 5 minutes without the water going cold again. The heating system on the Alde system, the thermostat has to be turned all the way to 86 degrees before it'll even start heating. The internal temperature in the cabin of the Airstream was 68 degrees. I kept adjusting the temperature, the thermostat, in 1 degree increments just to see where it was that system would kick on, and I would pause for a while, and every time it was 86 degrees before it would kick on. Last night before we went to bed, I left it at 86 just to see if it would continue heating. It didn't. This morning we got up, the glycol was warm just to the towel bar, and again it was cool in the bedroom. Now, granted, they did bleed the lines, and it took them a while, and they kept having to keep bleeding in the bedroom, which is the end of the run of the glycol. I don't know if the Alde control panel may be bad now on the 3010. That's the model of it, and it's not keeping correct temperature as far as the thermostat. It's not reading it correctly or something. Also, it seems that air keeps seeping into the system, into the lines somehow, but there's no leaking anywhere, so I'm not sure if it's sucking air in through maybe the pump, maybe the seal on the pump. I don't know. I'm not sure. But they open at 9 o'clock here. We're going to take another look at it. I sent an email explaining all of this last night so that George would see that first thing this morning. One thing that we have not been impressed with is we're getting contradictions constantly. Kind of wondering why everybody is contradicting each other enough that it's starting to make my head spin. Because it's like, okay, what's going on here? Why are you saying something different? You guys work for the same company. Why do you keep contradicting each other when you're not together and you're talking to me separately? Michelle and I are just scratching our heads on this. All right. I'm going to quit talking. That was almost a whole video in itself. We explained what the system was doing, and they were pretty adamant about trying to figure out what the problem was, and then finally realized that they couldn't figure out what it was, and there's too many issues with the system, and now they're going to replace the entire system, which is what we thought they were going to do to begin with, but hopefully they put this old unit on a bench somewhere and use it for a learning tool, but I don't know.
Dissect it.
It's actually their older one. They call it the 3010 model, and they don't even sell that model anymore. But so we're getting the new 3020 model. Finally, hopefully, that should take care of all our problems. And thanks, honey. Yeah. The only thing that'll stay is the flow, which is basically the tank reservoir for the water. holds extra water. There's nothing electrical with that, so that'll stay. But the whole Alde system and the control panel for the Alde system has to all be replaced. Pretty much what they said. The only difference is some of the wiring. It has a different communication cable going to it, so that tells me right there, I think they probably had an issue with it communicating, which could be part of this whole reason. They usually when you upgrade a model to the new model, it's improvements.
Yeah.
But nobody ever wants to talk about what the improvement was, really.
Just said it was a change.
Then you'd be admitting you know what the problem was to begin with. Anyway, I'm speculating.
No. And it's this and this? Okay. Oh, I just closed them.
Little update. So they're putting the new system in. And I was wondering, because yesterday they used the system to flush the glycol out. I asked, don't you have a system to reclaim it? I said, yeah, we do, but the stuff's non-toxic. So I was like, so it's okay to let it run all over the floor? And they're pulling the line off and the glycol went all over our floor. It's everywhere. And they're scrambling, grabbing paper towels and rags and trying to get it all cleaned up. Tried saying it was so that it wouldn't let any air into the system. But I'm sorry, anytime you open up a glycol line, there's going to be air in it anyway. They could have just used their machine and pumped it out, reclaimed it, put it in, saved our floor a mess. Here's your old system. Alright, so I thought I would show you this while they got the system out of here. Kind of give you an idea if you ever have to go through this yourself. All the lines should not need to be changed. There's your tank for the water. That's your extra holding tank, basically. So there's the relay sits on top, but there is nothing electrical that goes to that tank. It simply is just a tank for the water, not the glycol, for the water. Well, one thing that they do have to do, and hopefully we can fish it through, the new cable. It's a different cable that goes from the Alde system. Hopefully when they pull the old cable, they can tie that new one on there and pull it through. Here's the Alde control panel. Looks like they got the power off to it. But the wire comes through it right here. Hopefully the wire won't be attached to a wall anywhere. It shouldn't. I've noticed when you pull some of these panels off, a lot of wiring is just laid back there. It's not tied down or nothing. And there's even an outlet that is protected, has a back to it, but it's still laying loose. So what I had to do is tape the new cord onto the old cord and get underneath the recliners here, bring it down the wall in where the glycol tank, reservoir tank is, and then just pull the new one all the way through under the recliners here, all the way over to the bench where the unit is at. Nothing was attached to the floor or anything, so it just pulled freely all the way through. Having fun yet?
Oh yeah. It goes back together usually.
We're still at Alde this morning. Finally got the system fixed. They had to replace the entire thing like they had originally planned, and like we all thought we were going to do. That's what we ended up having to do. Found out that the previous owners probably didn't use a filter, because after they took our old system out, they dug into it deep, and this morning they came up and told us that it was just full of sand and debris, which basically acts as an insulator. That was one of the problems, which was probably making the system really struggle. I don't know, I'm speculating there. But so the previous owners that had this, when they used this to live in while they're building their house, they obviously didn't have a filter on it. So it's important to have a filter. You don't want that. You go to all these different places, and of course they lived in California, not too far from the coast, so they probably had a lot of sand in the water there. Good thing is our hot water is like night and day. It has a shower boost button on it that gives you a longer shower. I took a longer shower than normal. It really equated to like 2 long showers, and I didn't even have to move the lever at all. The heating, I did end up having to bleed some of the lines a little bit more. Never try bleeding those bleeders when the pump is on. The pump's on, it's gonna suck more air into the lines. I got a bunch more air out of the lines, letting it run and shutting it off and bleeding them. And went and got some more glycol. Eddie over here, really nice guy. He gave us some more glycol, told us to come back. He'll top it off for us before we leave to make sure we have extra. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna tear down here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the Elkhart campgrounds here in town. I think it's like the only one from what we're told. It might not be, I don't know. But we're just gonna go there because we were recommended to go there. We're gonna stay a couple days at least, just to make sure everything's running, because we don't want to be hundreds of miles away and then something isn't right, or there's a leak, or they didn't get a line on tight enough. Which reminds me, I need to check underneath, make sure there's no leaks. We'll see you over at Elkhart Campground. Bye, Truma. We'll miss you. No offense, it's just, if you come here, it means you have problems with your Alde or your Combi or your, what was their other system? Oh, AquaGoat. All right, so Elkhart Campgrounds is only 3.9 miles down the road here from Truma/Alde. They're all good sites, he says. They're all pull-throughs. All of our sites are good sites. So he had us come down here to the, right next to the dog park. Doesn't probably smell so good. Well, he asked me, where do you want to go? I said, well, we haven't been here before, so we'll just take your suggestions. Then he told us to go down here. He goes, I like to give people in sites when we have them available, which is nice. He circled this one, and he says, I know you like that one.
This one?
Yeah. So we're going there.
Okay. Hopefully we like it.
I told him, I don't know, we've never been here before, so you tell me. I know you like that one.
Say you will forever call to me, sanity.
And we're back to work.
Let's call it a day.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, click that little bell, and hit that thumbs up. See you next week.